I'm Dr. Manilka Sumanatilleke, consultant endocrinologist. Today I would like to speak to you about diet, lifestyle modification and diabetes. How these factors are related to each other, especially when it comes to diabetes and the other non-communicable diseases. So the current times that we are living in a modern world where our evolution, people say, has changed. People say that we are more prone for non-communicable or diseases like diabetes compared to our ancestors. But it's not genetic. Our genes have not changed for the past so many millions of years. But what has changed is our lifestyle. So unless you change your lifestyle and get into the habit of having healthy food and regular exercising, we cannot reverse this increasing trend of diabetes and other non-communicable diseases. This pandemic of obesity and diabetes, which has been engulfing the world over the past few decades, we call it as the modern evolution of man, where our genes have not changed over the times. It's the changing lifestyle which has contributed to obesity or being overweight due to poor dietary habits and lack of exercise in most people in busy cities and other areas has contributed to this increase in the non-communicable diseases, causing most of the health issues in the modern world. With this background, it is very important even for relatively young people to get themselves regularly checked for these non-communicable diseases, especially diabetes, and perhaps your cholesterol levels, and if necessary a cardiac checkup regularly to make sure that you are not unknowingly suffering from these diseases. Diagnosing diabetes is very simple. You need to fast for about 8 to 10 hours and give a morning fasting sample of your blood. Then we look at the blood sugar levels. As I mentioned before, a level above 126 milligrams per deciliter would be diabetes. Anything below 100 is fine, it's normal. 100 to 125 we call as pre-diabetes. Why is it so important to prevent diabetes? It's because of its multiple complications that we see with the disease. I have shown a cartoon here which shows the main organs in your body which is affected by long-standing diabetes, especially if it is poorly controlled. Your brain can get affected, which will result in early strokes. Your heart can get affected, which can result in heart attacks and other cardiovascular problems, and your nerves can get affected, causing nerve pain or numbness. Kidneys can fail and eyes can get affected. These are the major complications, but they're invariably all other organs in your body also can have other complications associated with diabetes. So how do we treat diabetes, or most importantly in people who are having borderline diabetes or pre-diabetes, how do you prevent diabetes? The cornerstones of managing diabetes or preventing diabetes would be a proper balanced diet and a regular exercise. As you can see in this clip that I have shown you, choose wisely. I don't have to go through all the details of a proper diabetic diet. Please reduce the energy rich, what we call as fast food, or high carb, refined sugars, and all the saturated fats that you consume, and eat healthy food as shown with lots of green leafy vegetables, fruits, not fruit juices, the fresh fruits, and plenty of fish and lean meat with a controlled amount of carbohydrates, which is not refined. So in a nutshell, that's a typical diabetic diet. And then of course, for a normal person, half an hour a day, 5 times a week of exercising on a regular basis is very good to prevent diabetes and to control your diabetes. But if there is somebody who does more, that's fine. According to your fitness, you could do more than what's required, which will further reduce the risk of you getting diabetes or other non-communicable diseases. And coming back to the diet again, if you want to have some measure or idea about your diet, you could divide your plate like shown in this slide here, where half your plate can be maximum rice. But ideally, what the literature says is 1/4 of your plate or a cup full of rice, and half the plate should be filled with vegetables and another quarter with your protein, whatever the protein that you are having. It's important to know or read the food labels sometimes. What we call as the glycemic index should guide you in choosing what type of carbs that you would choose. Especially in Sri Lanka, a lot of people ask about different types of rice, whether the brown bread is fine or white bread is okay, whether cornflakes is fine. So all that is determined by this index, what we call as the glycemic index of the carbohydrates. The ones on the green box are better, and you should try to avoid ones in the red box, the high glycemic index foods. Then there is another myth or a common thing that people ask us, that if you are exercising regularly, especially going to a gym and doing rigorous exercises, still do they have to watch their diet or worry about the diet? So just to show you the scale of things, I am sharing this slide with you. Just look at the values and the caloric values of common snacks that we are having, and then the amount of exercising that you have to do to burn equal amount of calories that you would gain. For example, if you just have a simple fizzy drink can, which is equivalent to about 140 calories, averagely built person will have to walk for about 23 minutes at 4 miles per hour to burn that. So look at the values here, and then you will understand 4 cookies will be 280 calories, and the amount of work you will have to do. You can burn, but basically you will have to spend hours and hours in a gym if you want to, unless you control the intake. So that's the message I have for you. You just can't burn all the food or the snacks you have in between meals with exercising.